another episode of Strategic Minds Making Money Moves, where we take strategies to get that green. And you are in for a treat today. I am so happy to have with me Chi-Chi Okezie. And she's going to talk to you about her business. And we're going to talk a little bit about strategies of things that we can do to overcome challenges we had during the pandemic. So I'm really looking forward to this. Welcome, Chi-Chi.
Thanks for having me, Miss Vicki.
It is my pleasure, and I'm so glad you were able to join us.
Absolutely.
Would you please share with our audience about your business?
Absolutely. So I am Chi-Chi Okezie, owner and producer of Simple Networking LLC. And it's a consulting firm based here in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, where we specialize in business networking. And I just want to be known as the networking guru. That's it.
Networking guru.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what a networking guru really means.
Well, in my perspective, it's someone who, and that's the thing, networking doesn't necessarily have to be natural. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a natural networker. It's something that you can definitely learn. But I want to be, anytime you think of networking, you think of Chi-Chi. Like when you think of window cleaner, you think of Windex. When you think of chapstick, you think of chapstick.
So tell me a little bit, how do you define networking for our audience so they really understand the breadth of what you're giving?
Absolutely. So networking really is about building relationships and also sharing information. I like to think of it as networking in the type sense of computers. When you have two or more computers connected, they're sharing information, and that's considered network or networking. So just two individuals connected and sharing relationships and resources.
So talk to us a little bit about how have you begun to accomplish that goal? Where are you in your business in terms of networking?
So I turned 16. So excited.
Congratulations.
And it was an interesting start. So I started off by doing seminars and workshops. And it led to, of course, when the pandemic came, doing a lot more digitally and virtually, so webinars and things of that nature. And my main focus is really teaching how to network. And that's everything from preparing for a networking event, what to do at a networking event, and even what to do afterwards, because we always miss the ball with follow-up.
Okay, so what would you like to talk about from a strategic perspective today regarding your business around networking?
So I definitely want to see how I can leverage more of my digital presence. So I've come up with a lot of digital products, my ebooks, online courses, licensing agreements, but I really want to learn how to market that better.
Okay. So, one of the things that I think about when I think about marketing is really to understand, and we'll talk a little bit about this in detail, but what is the customer experience that you're going after? I was reading an article and come to find out that 73% of customers want to have audio as a way to communicate versus just looking at social media. Not that we don't use it, but they're coming to a point that even when I get customer support, I want to have audio, as opposed by 2023, 71% are going to want that. So as we begin to think about that, we think about our audience and we go, what am I offering that I could potentially give to someone through an audio experience? What does that look like, even from customer support? So, you think about networking and you think about the opportunity to spread the word. We're spreading relationships. Is there a kind of customer support line that you could implement that allows your customers to be able to call and get support? I want to know about this. I want to know about that. And be able to have, whether artificial intelligence, whether it's bots, whether there's all kinds of things out there to give them tips and tricks. When we call the bank, we say, is this about your checking? Press 1. Well, if this is a networking opportunity and you really want to know the basics about networking, press 1. And when they get to 1, they might get a clip of something that you've done from a workshop or something like that you're giving them information. How can I now get to become a networker? I think one of the things that we're finding out in the world today is people like short vignettes. They don't like long things, right? Our attention span is that long, right? And so we begin to think about how can I make them short and quick. I like the thought that you are doing ebooks and you're doing workshops and you're putting all of this content together. Have you ever thought about bundling it? Have you thought about doing a bundled package for your audience?
I have not.
So just to take that a little bit further,
Right.
and that's great because when you bundle your packages, you give yourself another opportunity to market, right?
Okay.
So and you think about this as a segmentation of your audience. If I am a networker that's in corporate America and I'm trying to network, first question becomes for what purpose? Am I just trying to get to understand people? Am I trying to get known in the industry? Or am I trying to let people know about my skill sets? What is my purpose and my strategy for actually going after networking? Well, there might be a bundled package with the courses that you offer, the ebooks that you put together, and the information that's all about corporate networking. All about, and it might be a small vignette that says, you want to get known in your industry? Here are some tidbits to do that. Oh, maybe your networking is that you really want people to buy from you. It's more of a sales thing. It's more of getting to understand. Maybe there's a different program for them. So that we're teaching people the unique skills around networking and what's needed so that at the end of the day, they're feeling like that really hit home. Rather than the broad, it becomes more focused. It's also true that today that more and more individuals want customization, right? Now think about yourself. You don't want to spend time teaching somebody about networking that's not going to use it, right? You want to add value, right? So when you think about customization, it goes both ways. What am I customizing for that individual person that's coming in? And then what am I getting back? Because every customization that you do and every package that you offer should provide you some insights to experiences, because that helps you set your strategy for the next thing you want to do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to take a station break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities that might be out there for you to expand your business, understand how to take it during the pandemic. What does that really mean? And how do you need to alter things so you can keep that revenue going? We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. As we were talking with Chi-Chi before, she was talking a lot about her digital products. She talked about being able to do networking. So let's brainstorm a little bit.
Absolutely.
When we think about networking, and if I were to come to you and say, Chi-Chi, I hate networking. Because to me, networking means I gotta go talk to people, and just because I talk to them doesn't mean that they remember me. Just because I give them a business card doesn't mean that they're gonna acknowledge. what kinds of things can you tell me that I should be able to learn from what you're giving for me to expand my networking capability?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is you have to have a plan. A lot of people don't have a plan for networking. They just want to jump out and just do it or just show up. We have a plan to buy a house. We have a plan to get married. We have a plan to go back to school, to retire. But with networking, it's just whatever happens. So we're going to start with a plan. The other thing is that we want to be very, like you say, strategic in how we implement the plan. So when it comes to, let's say, going to an event, one of the things I suggest, Miss Vicki, is that you contact the organizer of the event before the event takes place. And when you do that, either by calling, like you mentioned, having that audio communication, or even through email. And you want to ask certain questions for this organizer. Now, you want to be very respectful and, respect people's privacy. And so you're not going to ask for the list because we don't want to overspam. We're not about that. But you want to ask questions like how many people are going to be there, what type of industries are going to be represented, and what types of professionals are going to be there. So you know how to gauge your conversations and your elevator pitch. The next thing you do, so it's a bit much for us introverts because I am a bona fide introvert, is that you ask if you can meet them maybe 10 or 15 minutes before the event, even if it's virtual. Can I come into the chat or can I come into the room in person or virtually, and just reintroduce yourself so that they can see the physical you, and then that's another form of credibility. And then here's the last piece. Ask them, because once again, you don't want the list, but they know who's going to be there. They're the gatekeepers. So you ask if there's anyone that you think that I should meet, can you please introduce me to them?
Absolutely. So, with that, let's take that, what you just gave me, and frame it into strategic opportunities.
Okay.
All right. So, you told me that I need to put a plan together. When you're working with your clients, do you ever upsell on that plan to say, yes, I put the plan together, but now I can coach you through that plan? Now I can help you that you took the time to learn. You did the ebook, you did the workbook, you did the things that needed to be done to learn how. Now, let me help you take that to the next step and upsell. Because what happens is, especially we've learned this through the pandemic, right? People couldn't get out, they couldn't talk to each other, they couldn't explore those new things. They weren't able to also understand different industries, and we'll talk about industries second. But one of the things that we did not do when we were in the pandemic is that everybody was so zoomed out. It was like, oh my God, a Zoom here, Zoom that, a Zoom here, Zoom that. And I got to do it for work. So how can I help not being just so zoomed with workshops and ebooks and things, but have an opportunity to actually create that relationship? So when you upsell, when you say, look, you bought this package, that's great. And if you want me to review it and to go through it, I have a 30-minute coaching session I'd be happy to give you. Then I'm engaging you when you want to be engaged with the help because they want to make sure they're successful, but you're also upselling to get that cash flow going, right? In terms of moving forward. And then when we think about, now that networking has to be done differently, how do you propose to your clients that they network differently online than when they're in person?
That's a good one. Online, the first thing I always say is complete your bio, complete your profile. If you leave that 70, 60% full, it doesn't help to optimize your profile. And then you're leaving out information where the system can connect you with similar interests with other people or merging networks. So first thing is you have to complete that profile. The other thing is, just like you show up as your best self, you need to show up as your best self online. Have that professional picture, have that bio that doesn't have any errors or grammatical mistakes. And also, when they're reading it, what do you want them to know about you? Because you have control over this. And that's extremely important. No one is putting in your, well, I mean, you can get someone to do that, but you have control of the information. So of course you want to make it as advantageous to yourself as possible.
So, it's interesting you say that because it's all about telling your story, right?
Absolutely.
But every industry may not need the same story.
Mm-hmm.
So when we begin to think about networking and actually thinking about how do we build a strategy to get through this, we can do it industry specific. So let's talk a little bit about industries.
Absolutely.
We know that all industries are not the same. We know that there's some industries that require more relationships than others. We know that when you get to know people, people are different. So one of the other things you might want to think about as you're moving forward is because we all have different personalities and traits. So you mentioned you're an introvert, right? So the way somebody approaches you may be different than the way they approach me. I'm an extrovert. And so I'm willing to have a conversation. I get the energy. Yeah, let's go, let's go. I'm willing to have that conversation and to talk to them. So I think it's important to understand that personality as you're beginning to help people with the strategies so that you can begin to show them those differences in networking. The second thing is that if I am doing a networking event, and to your point, you tell them, you really need to contact people, you need to get your bio right, and all of that. How do I set myself apart? And when we come back, I'm going to give you a few ideas about how to set you apart differently so that you're doing something that someone else isn't necessarily doing that's going to be unique and different. We're going to take a station break, and when we come back, I'll give a few more tips and see if our audience has any questions. We'll be right back.
Strategic Minds, Making Money Moves with Vicki Wright Hamilton focuses on helping entrepreneurs to overcome their business challenges to help increase their bottom line. Each episode provides strategies for growth and transformation. Watch Vicki share her 20-plus years of experience as a corporate executive to help entrepreneurs level up.
When I was in college, I had a college professor to tell me I would never, ever make it in technology. He told me that I needed to change my career, all because I took a test and got a D after studying so very hard. I knew at that point that I had to learn the game of life and survival. How did I do that? I really put on my game face so that they never knew what to expect, when, where, or how. See, life has all of its journeys and obstacles. We all have a story to tell, and we have many different paths that we take. My journey to this moment has not been easy. You have to play the game, play to win, and you win by wearing your game face. Welcome back. So as we were talking before the break, we began to talk about a little bit, how do I make myself distinguished, right? And I know I have been to many, many networking things that say, okay, don't give them just a business card. That's not networking. That's just a connection, right? You don't have a networking until they remember you. And, do things like stand at the registration, see who's coming, so you know who's going to be in the room, right? So you know what's happening, that kind of thing. But one of the things that I think that can also help us, especially in this virtual world, is that before you go to your networking event or having a networking event, and as you talked about getting your bio out there, also look at the LinkedIn profiles of the people you want to see. There's nothing like walking up to someone and saying, hi, my name is Vicki Wright Hamilton. I'm the CEO of VWH Consulting. And I noticed, Chi-Chi, that you are one of the best networkers out there. And I would love to get some insights from you. It's one thing when you've done enough to make that more than just a connection, right? And as you do that, especially online, and as you're talking to people, it really helps. And if you're online with people, and there might be 100 people online, right? But you get to see who's everybody there. You need to be taking screenshots of who's online with you, and you need to go join them on LinkedIn. Go ask them to join them on LinkedIn, right? Because now you have a connection. You can say, I thoroughly enjoyed, the workshop that we were in. I would love to have a further conversation. And these are things that you can do to try to expand that audience as you're trying to move forward, and therefore increase your revenue and your cash flow. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the other thing is that I think is one of the last tips that I want to share with you, because I'm so impressed. We've known each other for a while, and I know that you are the network queen. When I think about networking, I definitely think about Chi-Chi. But I think one of the things that helps is when you are dealing with how people respond differently. So response. I am the type of leader that my time is so precious, right? And when people come to share something with me, I don't need you to sell me. Because if it's your business, you got to believe in it. You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't believe in it. So I don't need you to sell me on that. What I need to understand is, how are you going to help me save time? How are you going to help me make more money? How are you going to make me more productive? And how are you going to cut out experiences? And what are you going to do for my customers? That's what I care about. So when someone approaches me, when they go, oh, I work for so-and-so, and I've got this great product, and it does, I don't know that. It's, I work for such and such, and my value to you is boom, 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 boom. That's me. There are other people who are like, if you can't build a relationship with me first, don't sell me anything. So it is critically important to understand your audience and the person that you're directing your conversation to, because it won't be received well if you are giving them what they aren't, right? So I know in the industry, when I was, as I was working, salespeople always say to me, I love coming to you because you're going to tell me just like it is. You're going to come in and say, these are the 5 things I need help with. How are you going to help me with these 5 things and move forward? That's the way it worked. And so they never had to worry about it. If I said I have money, I ain't have money. So let's see if we have a question from the audience.
Hi, Ms. Vicki. Hi, Chi-Chi. My name is Calandra Tibbs. I'm a nonprofit strategist and CEO of Trifecta Advising LLC. So my question for Chi-Chi is regarding being an introvert. Like you, I'm an introvert, and I'm wondering, what is the best strategy for me when I'm engaging either in a virtual setting or an in-person setting? What's the best strategy for me when entering the room? How do I get engaged and get the flow going of the networking?
It's a great question, Ms. Tibbs. And as an introvert, fellow introvert, I'm with you. We're in this together. The first thing in person is we're moving back into our new normal, if you will. The best thing to do is to make that eye contact, and if you're able to connect with someone non-verbally, eye contact, and then smile and walk up and introduce yourself. If there's a group of people, then kind of stand a few feet back and just, I wouldn't say hover, but just kind of stand there to wait to get that eye contact again, so that when you make that nonverbal connection, that's a doorway, that's an avenue to make conversation, or for either yourself or someone else to say, oh, hi, would you like to come and talk? Or my name is so-and-so. On the virtual side, in regards to webinars and workshops, things of that nature, you got to utilize that chat feature if it's available. Be the one to say, hi, I'm Calandra, I'm Miss Tibbs, this is what I do, I'd love to connect, have a call to action.
Wow, what great advice. Thank you so much for your
you.
question. We really appreciate that. And as you can see, on this show, we're here to provide strategies and opportunities to help you do what? Make that green. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Strategic Minds Making Money Moves. Thank you, Chi-Chi.
Thank you.